What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another very exciting episode of Untamed Outdoorsmen. And today we are back once again with a great introduction to an awesome set of videos coming very soon here. And today we're going to be going over the all-new Native Watercraft Hammer 12.10. This thing is the newest kayak from Native Watercraft as of early 2026. We're going to take a really good look at it right now. All right, so now that you guys take a quick look at it, I need to make something very, very clear here. This is not my personal kayak. This kayak belongs to a very good friend of mine and fan of the channel, Carl. Carl's an amazing dude. You know, with him being a fan of the channel and him being a personal friend of mine, the perfect storm came together for me to do a kayak build for him and to rig out all of his stuff to his liking. So again, this is not my personal kayak. I am going to still be rolling with a Titan X 12.5, but we are going to be doing a group of videos here on the Native Hammer for my friend Carl. This is his personal kayak. So need to make that abundantly clear. So today's video now is just going to be a tour of how it sits stock. So this is a tour of everything that comes with the Native Hammer when you buy it. I will admit they do kind of jam-pack this thing. There is quite a lot here to talk about. But again, today's video is just going to be a tour going over everything from bow to stern as sort of an introduction to the build series. So the build series that we're going to be doing for this Native Hammer is going to be the same style build series that we've done for many different kayaks now. The Titan X, PWR, XTR, Ascend 133X, Titan 12, you know, all those kayaks. This is going to be just like those. So we have quite a bit of videos planned. By the time you guys see this, they'll probably already be mostly done. We're going to be doing things like a bow motor. This is a 24-volt Minn Kota Tarova. So we're going to be doing quite a few different things across multiple different videos. We're going to do full yak power system. We're going to do a keel guard for this kayak. We are going to be doing a custom keel guard. I know there's a lot of interest in that. We are also going to be doing full Garmin live scope on this, full LVS 34 Garmin live scope on this guy. So we're going to be doing a full build series on this kayak. So a lot to be excited about here. So we're going to start the tour and we're going to get after it. All right, so as we begin the tour here, I'm looking at it and I do see a lot of similarities to my personal Titan X 12.5. Like I said earlier in the video, the Native Hammer and Titan X 12.5 are kind of like sisters. Like they're very similar in many ways. You see it a lot. They are not marketed as one being superior to the other. That's not how they're marketed. They're much more marketed towards the type of angler you are. So this Native Hammer is designed with speed first, stability second. Not that it's even remotely unstable, but speed and hydrodynamics was the priority with this Native Hammer, and the stability was second. Whereas on the Titan X 12.5, stability was first and hydrodynamics were second. They don't market these two kayaks as one being inferior to the other, but they do market them as one is catered to a specific type of kayaking as opposed to the other. So it's just going to come down to which one you ultimately prefer for your situation. But this kayak, again, is very similar in a lot of ways. You can definitely see it. So we'll start with the bow here. So the bow is extremely similar to the Titan X, but there's a couple things that they improved here. So obviously you have the same style mounting platform for a bow motor. Like we said, we're going to be installing a 24-volt Minn Kota in one build series episode coming up soon here. But it's very similar. There is a little bit less bolts, but the mounting plate from Native Watercraft does accommodate for it. So this can accommodate pretty much every quick release plate on the market with Native's specialty plates. So that's no concern there. We got our nice beefy grab handle here. A early issue with some of the older Titan X's, this handle would actually pop out under extreme force, like winching on a trailer. But that's not going to be an issue with these. They reinforced them on newer Titan X's, and you can only assume that they reinforced it on this guy here. So no big deal there. So a few more nice features in the bow area here is this tow hook. So this is a tow hook that they made for winching onto trailers and things like that. So I have gotten information that these have a load rating of about 1,500 pounds, which is quite a bit. Don't quote me on that, but about 1,500 pounds seems to be the number for the load rating of these hooks. Obviously, be mindful because at the end of the day, it is plastic, but as you can see in the keel here, much more of a sharp keel compared to my Titan X 12.5. So obviously it's going to be cutting water a little bit easier. If you put the same motor on this kayak as opposed to Titan X, I'm assuming this one will move a little bit faster. But a really interesting feature, and one that I may or may not have had influence on, I don't know for sure, but we'll take a look at it right now. So you guys may know already, back about 18 months ago, we did a 1-year buyer's review on my Titan X 12.5. And one of the legitimate cons that I had for the kayak was that there was nowhere near enough handle surface area for how heavy of a kayak it is. I'll play that clip right now. In my opinion, for how heavy this boat is and how much weight you could add to this boat, you know, sometimes upwards of 200 plus pounds, you need more handle surface area here. In my opinion, you do. My old kayak, the Ascend 133X, you know, it was a plastic handle, so the quality was not as good. But you had these big, two beefy grab handles on both sides of the bow. This made lifting a heavy kayak a million times easier. There's not a lot of space here to pick up a lot of kayak. So in my opinion, you know, if they ever want to make a new edition of this Titan X, I would definitely recommend, you know, figuring out a way to get more handle surface area. More area to grab onto to lift and move around. Because this is really only designed for one hand. You know, you could probably fit two hands if you squeeze it, but it's not a comfortable experience. So definitely, in my opinion, one major room for improvement is adding more front handle surface area, for sure. But yeah. So I'm not sure if I had any influence on them doing this. I may have, I may not have, who knows. I had that complaint for the Titan X 12.5, and they actually listened, and they put these two recessed handle areas here to grab onto under the kayak to give you more handle surface area to be able to lift it a little bit easier. So who knows? I may or may not have had influence on them adding this. I don't know. I probably never will, but it's very cool that they added this. One really actually pretty interesting feature with this bow area again is the positioning of this power link plate. This power link plate is actually angled a little bit so you can put bigger plugs and accommodate different motor plates. That was a little bit of a con on the Titan X 12.5 with the new Minn Kota kayak Tarova, was the fact that the positioning on the hull made it so this became difficult. You actually had to cut a notch out of the foot pedal. You probably won't have to do it with these because they're recessed in a little bit more and they're angled down. So that's very interesting. So moving on to the bow area here where the hatch is, you have these really nice water runoffs recessed into the hull here, which is nice. That's definitely a nice feature. That was an issue on some of the older traditional Titans. But you got this absolutely massive, thick plastic hatch here. So super nice, really heavy duty, similar to my Titan X hatch. You have the same little bow bucket, and you have obviously a very deep hull area as well. But right here is probably where a lot of the magic is going to happen. So you have this really big bow battery bucket here. So you can fit the majority of batteries here. I'll actually show you guys a prime example. So this battery here is a 100 amp hour extra mini Li-Time lithium iron phosphate battery. And as you can see, it fits in there with plenty of room to spare. And with this hatch being so tall, it's not a big deal at all. So yeah, you can pack a lot of battery in this bow hatch area. So again, a full 100 amp hour extra mini Li-Time battery can fit in here with no problem. And that will be the battery that we're installing for our Yak Power system, which will power our graphs, our live scope, our lights, stuff like that. And you have a very nice cable management system for your transducer wiring, because transducer cables are very long. It comes up through the transducer plug right here, but it comes up through your plug right here, and it can loop around in here, or it can go through your power link plate that is actually in this bow hatch area. So my Titan X does not have this, but this is a nice little power link plate here to avoid having to go through the bow hatch area and cut a notch into this lid. That's what we had to do for mine. This one, we don't have to do that. We have a power link plate. We can just go right through the hull here as opposed to putting a nick in this bow hatch. So super, super interesting here. They really refined quite a bit of things in the bow area compared to the Titan X, which is very, very nice. So yeah, we're gonna move on to the middle section of the kayak now. Okay, so we got quite a bit to unpack here in the middle section of the kayak here. So we'll start with this back power link plate. So I do not have this power link plate here either. This is one that's perfect for running fish finder wiring to a captain's bridge. You do also have the captain's bridge mounting spots here, or you could use these for like paddle holders, or I use mine for a net holder here. So you get the 2 tracks here for a captain's bridge. You get this power link plate to run your graph wires to your head units, which is super nice. But now we're going to talk about probably the biggest part of the middle section of this kayak here. So this is the all-new X-Range propel drive system. There's quite a bit of benefits of the X-Range as opposed to the regular traditional pedal drive that Native has. That's been a tried and true system forever, but this one's got a lot of interesting features. So the first one is a removable storage area, very similar to the Old Town PDLs, where you can pop it open, and it's a perfect section for a phone, your wallet, keys, fishing license, things like that. So that's very, very nice. And now we're going to get into the main part. So got our prop indexer. So the X-Range, it actually has a mounting mechanism on the hull. So the mounting mechanism keeps it nice and secure so it doesn't wobble around as much or have any play positioned in the kayak, which is super nice. So you just pop it in and pop it out, just like that. And it will fold on you, which saves you a bunch of space. And the best part is you can actually use this provided tether it on, and you can actually leave it on while transporting, which is a huge, huge deal because it saves so much space. Or if you want to still carry it in your vehicle, you can do that, and it's a much more compact setup as opposed to that big, bulky, traditional drive. So that's really nice. So another thing that's super interesting, and I'll show you it right now. So another very interesting thing here is a built-in weed cutter right on the bottom of the drive here. And that's going to be awesome because these things love to get wrapped up in the weeds. You have a built-in weed cutter that'll actually help you out with that quite a bit. So that's super nice. You got your traditional Propel crank arms, so nothing new there. But yeah, the X-Range Propel Drive is an awesome system. So unfortunately, the X-Range is not cross-compatible with the other Native Watercraft kayaks at this moment, but I have heard a lot of chatter that somewhere down the road, they are going to come out with some form of a conversion kit to accommodate the X-Range on the other Native Watercraft kayaks. So the Titan X's, the Slayers, the Slayer LTE, things like that. They will eventually come out with a conversion kit, but it's not going to be anytime soon. I heard a minimum of a year plus from release, probably a lot more than that. So don't plan on it anytime soon, but eventually there will be a conversion kit for this X-Range to accommodate the other Native Watercraft kayaks. But again, I wouldn't plan on it anytime soon. Another really interesting feature is something that, again, I may or may not have had an impact on this. I don't know. I don't know if they watched my videos. But a nice thing here is, those of you who watched our buyer's reviews on the Titan X 12.5, you'll know that I had a scuffing issue on the wall of my propel drive area where the propel drive rests, and it actually ended up putting a pinhole leak in the hull. As far as I know, I am the only person that had that problem, but with this X-Range system, it actually protects that whole area of the hull with this replaceable area here that their X-Range clips onto. So it's a complete shield for the hull, which is super nice. So that makes it so there's no risk of any scuffing on the actual kayak plastic. Again, awesome feature there. I don't know if they saw my example and decided to update it. I have no idea, but that's the second thing. That's the second direct thing that we talked about in the buyer's review that they had an answer for. So who knows? So that's super interesting. The X-Range is probably the biggest feature improvement with this new kayak. So a lot to be excited about there. So you got a bunch of different scuppers here. You got six scuppers in the front and 2 in the back, which is super cool. You got a lot of water drainage options if you want them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8 back there. Super cool. You got all of your tracks and stuff here. You got your screw holes for foot pedals, things like the forced current foot pedals like we have on my Titan X, or the Newport foot pedals. Whatever you want to do, the Wizard foot pedals, you can get those as well. But super interesting and similar to my Titan X ultimately. But right here we got a very interesting feature as well that I don't have, and this is built-in Yak Attack through hull kits. So these are super nice, being able to run fish finder wiring. We are going to use these to utilize our graph. We are installing a GPS map series with the LVS34 live scope and a sniper marine pole. So all of that's going to be done around here. So we're going to be really packing this area in a later episode of the build series, but that's super cool. You got your traditional handle setup here for the rudder. This is the new spring blade rudder. That's, I think, standard now on every native watercraft kayak, but you have a seat, which is very similar to mine. Maybe a little bit different in some ways, but this is the black version of the seat. I have the older gray style version of the seat. Not super different. I think it's a little bit shorter in the back, but ultimately it's really not much different other than just a black color as opposed to my gray one. That was the older Millennium Marine seat, but yep, very cool. You got a seat storage area. This is identical to mine. So very cool, and obviously it's a swivel seat, full 360 swivel. So now we are going to get into probably my favorite feature of this kayak, and that is the completely flush battery box. So we'll open this guy up and show you, but the battery box part of my Titan X is my favorite feature of the kayak because it keeps all the battery stuff enclosed in the kayak, and you can transport with the batteries, you can do anything you want. But they doubled down on this one, in my opinion. So this can accommodate a bunch of different batteries. This can also accommodate the new Newport Low Pro batteries, which is super cool. But you got this bucket here that can be removed, and it will expose the internals of the hull. With this one, they did thicken up the bucket so it doesn't risk like the bucket breaking with different battery sizes. I wouldn't necessarily go throwing big lead acids in here, but a larger lithium iron phosphate can absolutely do it. You get this nice strap here to go over your battery to secure it in this area. And a nice feature is you also get a power link plate here to run your motor plugs, your quick connects through that. Or if you want to run like various accessories, you can run them through here as opposed to running them in the hull, which some people will run it through the power link plate, some people will run it through the hull. We're going to run it through the power link plates just for a simpler install and a cleaner look. But that's going to be the priority for this build, is cleanliness and keeping everything clean, keeping everything seamless. That's the goal for this kayak. So yeah, Native really doubled down on this battery box as opposed to my Titan X. You know, a lot of really good things going on in here. And a nice thing too is you can slide your seat right over it, and you can just act like it doesn't exist. You can just pretend it doesn't exist. So assuming you do the wiring right, but obviously you guys know we will. So yeah, really awesome battery box situation here, and really big fan of that. So obviously you got your two back-facing rod holders just like mine was. From this point on, it does get very similar to my kayak. You got your bungee system here for a Yak Attack Black Pack. These are the Omni hooks from Yak Attack specifically for the Black Pack. I got two more scuppers here. These are recessed so all the water drains and stays in this middle section here. You got your back power link plate. We are going to be mounting our Minn Kota puck to this back plate here. What's nice about that is if a year down the road we decide we want something different, we can always just move that around. But we're going to install the puck back here, and we got our nice little bucket, just like mine, just like my Titan X. And then obviously you got your rudder controls and stuff. It's actually pretty deep into the hull, but there is drainage holes out there. And then we have our rear-facing mounts here as well. So these are for micro power poles on the sides, and you can mount things like the NK300, or you can mount the Garmin Force Current back here. Whatever you want to mount, you can mount back here. It's your universal 4-bolt mounting pattern. So a lot of good things there. We'll take a look at the spring blade rudder. All right, so I don't think you guys can see me, but we got the full spring blade rudder set up here. Super nice rudder system, no complaints at all. I ended up removing my rudder system this coming season, but this is a great little unit here. The spring blade rudder system is a huge upgrade over the traditional older rudder system that was on the older Titans and older Slayers. I think this guy is awesome, so no complaints. And you also have a rear-facing keel guard here, so we won't need to do one in the rear, but we are going to do one in the bow. So yeah, let's get back up to the kayak. All right, so now that we went on a quick tour of this new Native Watercraft hammer, I did want to talk about what's next. So obviously, after this video, we're going to be doing a full multi-part build series on this kayak, going extremely in-depth through each step of the rigging for you at the same level of quality that you've come to expect from us through all of our other build series episodes. So I feel like this channel has really made a name for itself with the build series videos. I feel like we've kind of become a name that in the kayaking community people can trust when it comes to build videos and things like that. So I think this build series is going to be no exception. We are really going to do things the right way. We're going to do it the right way the first time. We're going to cut no corners, and this is going to be a lot of fun. So that's obviously the priority. But yeah, so in terms of like how often it's going to be, so as of right now, I have between 4 to 6 episodes of this build series planned out. So I would expect them every couple of weeks. It's not going to be an every week thing. It's going to be a couple of weeks. I'm going to spread them out kind of on purpose because we got a lot of videos and a lot of other things going on the channel, especially with the start of fishing season pretty much here now. So I'm going to be spreading them out. Probably once every couple of weeks, there'll be a build series upload, but we will be doing at a minimum 4, probably around 5 or 6 build series episodes. So lots to be excited about there. We're going to be going extremely in depth. Those are going to be some longer videos. So buckle up. It'll be a lot of great videos coming to you very soon. So yeah, again, huge thank you to Carl for allowing me to build this kayak out and putting his faith in me to be able to do this to his brand new like $3,000 plus kayak. So huge thank you to him, and really excited to get this thing started and ultimately get this thing on the water for him. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. A lot of great things to come here. So definitely get excited, and we'll see you guys in the next video. So thank you.